Hi, I'm James Kotecki. You're in the C-Space studio with me here at CES 2020, and I'm here with Matt Roberts, Director of Research and Analytics at Formula One.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Thanks for being here. Formula One, a very exciting brand. How do you introduce yourself and what your personal role is to people at CES?
Yeah, so basically my role is I'm Director of Research and Analytics, and basically my team uses all sorts of data, research, TV audience data, digital data to help create insight which helps the company improve its commercial revenue. So that might be improving fans, improve the amount of sponsorship revenue, improve the number of people visiting our social media pages, and so on and so forth. So we work with lots of data, we ask many questions on surveys, we do all that kind of stuff. So it's very varied and interesting.
And what does your data say about the way people view the Formula One brand? Maybe the average person views it differently from a super fan, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, F1 is deemed to be like a luxury brand in many markets. So in the US and China, it's much more kind of on the luxury sort of niche kind of high-end brand. But in Europe, it's much more of a traditional, well-known brand in every home. You know, it's been around for 70 years. In the UK, where it was founded, you know, F1 is a household name. The drivers are household names, so it's much more kind of mass
cool
market.
Archive footage of black and white,
exactly,
drivers doing old school things in cars. Okay. So, what does your audience data then tell you about how people are engaging with it, as far as what marketers would want to know? We're here at C-Space, which is about media and marketing. If I'm a marketer coming to Formula One, how do you entice me?
Yeah, I mean, F1 is it's global. So F1 is shown in every country in the world. We have 22 races in 22 countries in 5 continents. We have 490 million TV viewers a year, unique, and that's actually increased by 40 million year on year. We've got over 500 million fans in the world. We've got 26 million social media followers. We've got 45 million unique digital users per year on our website. So as you see, it's a massive brand with massive kind of breadth. It's in every market, whilst something like the NFL, NBA, yes, they're big in 2 or 3 markets, but F1 is big across 10, 20 markets in the top 3 sports. So it's a huge global brand.
But if I am a marketer and I'm trying to reach all those different markets, I still probably need to tailor my creative for all those different markets, right? So do you offer opportunities for that are special to Formula One?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Some brands say, oh, we want Asia is our biggest market. So for those markets, they may have more rights in terms of sponsorship rights. They may have like title partnership, or have more activations at races, or more more prominence. When you go to those races, you see that brand a lot more. And they might say, well, we don't care so much about the UAE because we're an alcohol brand and you can't drink in the UAE.
Sure.
So we do have tailored sponsorship packages for different brands. Yeah.
How do the fan insights that you get from your viewers and the things that you're offering to marketers, how does those kind of feedback and affect each other? Can you give me maybe an example of how that works?
Yeah, I mean, we get TV numbers, we get data from surveys, we get customer data, and we also have a website called F1 Fan Voice, where we fire out surveys and polls and ask people's opinions on potential new rule changes or new commercial ventures that we might be doing. All that data then comes back to me and my team, and we all kind of feed that out to different stakeholders across the business, and that will all be part of a big kind of cog of things that go into, should we change this or should we make this decision? And research and data inform decisions. They don't make decisions, but they help inform. Because sometimes actually fans don't always know what they want. Apple have don't do that much research yet. They always bring out the next big thing. So we can't always go, a fan said this, we must do this. It's part of a conversation.
Well, speaking of cars, is that apocryphal Henry Ford quote? If I had known, if I give people what they wanted, I would have given them a faster horse.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. We're talking with Matt Roberts of Formula One. One thing that's interesting about, I think, the work that you're specifically doing is, I think of Formula One as a brand. I think of an entity that has a long history of using data on the technology side to improve the technology of the vehicles and the technology of the racing. But you and I were talking before this interview. It sounds like the marketing analytics part of it is relatively new for you.
Yeah, I mean, in 2017, Liberty Media took over at F1, and I entered the business thinking, yeah, we're going to have loads of data, it's going to be great, and actually there was nothing. So I had a total clean slate to do what I wanted to do. And over the last 3 years, we've built up so much insight around our fans, around their behaviour, around the barriers, the triggers. And it's been a great journey. You know, the company's really invested in research and data, and they see it as a key part of our business, and it helps inform every decision that we do as a business. Whereas before, everything was done off gut feel. No one really, there was no justification around what was done.
Yeah. In as much as you are entertainment content, like so many other kinds of entertainment content, sports and beyond sports, you're competing in an increasingly competitive landscape for people's eyeballs. How do you think about that, and how do you maintain, you said you're actually growing your audience, which is great, but how do you do that in a landscape where more and more things are available for me to watch?
Yeah, I mean, F1 was only a TV brand a few years ago. There was no social media, there was no digital, there was nothing. And over the last few years, you'd have seen that we've launched a Netflix documentary called Drive to Survive, which was extremely successful at bringing in new fans and new people interested in the sport. We've got a whole new social media platform. We've got esports, which has been a great success for us in terms of bringing in more younger fans. Fan festivals, if you go to a race now, the city where the race is, there'll be a fan festival which will help reach those fans who previously you may not have reached by, if someone stumbles across a fan festival, they may learn more. So we're pivoting away from being just a TV race day brand, but more about a general everyday entertainment brand, really.
A bit of a wildcard question here. We're here at CES, which has kind of become an auto show in many ways. Yeah. Self-driving has been on the horizon for a little while. What would it mean in a future where most people do not actually drive their own cars? Would that audience be able to relate to Formula One as much as people who are just used to driving their cars every day?
I mean, F1 is always going to be the pinnacle of motorsport, and our cars and our drivers push themselves very much to the very, very, very limit. And I think that's what fans love about the sport. They love seeing these guys, these heroes, push themselves to the limit in these cars to get the very best out of them. I think they're still, you're right, I mean, there could be a world of driverless cars, but our heroes make our sport, and without those drivers, we don't really have F1. So I think there's still going to be so much interest in those heroes. And we talked about Netflix, and Netflix was a great opportunity for fans to really get under the skin of what these guys are like, what their lifestyle is like. And that was the big success out of it, is people said, I didn't know much about him, and now I love him, and I want to follow him because I found out about his life. So I think those guys are going to be really important.
So would you say then that as a brand, you're not necessarily selling, this year's cars are X percentage technologically better than last year's cars? You're selling people, you're selling human stories.
Yeah, you're selling stories, entertainment, and that's why it's really important that as a sport we become more competitive. So there's a whole team where I work who, their job is to improve the competitiveness of the sport and bring the cars closer together. And at the end of last year, we launched our new regulations for 2021. And the goal of those regulations is to bring the field of cars much closer together between the first and the last car.
You have a panel here at CES called the State of Sports Analytics. What's going to be your main takeaway there?
Mainly that I think sports organisations need to use data and analytics to help inform decisions and help them grow commercial revenue.
Yeah. Are there sports out there that are, I guess, further behind where Formula One was in 2017?
Yeah, many. I mean, in the US, I think you're more advanced than we are, but in Europe, so many teams and leagues just do nothing, or they have one person with very small budgets. So it's it's an untapped market that's growing and growing and growing.
So you and your colleagues have your work cut out for you?
We have indeed.
Okay. Yeah. Matt Roberts of Formula One.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here in the C-Space studio.
Thank you very much. Great.
And thank you for watching us here in the C-Space studio. I'm James Kotecki, your host here at CES 2020. Stay tuned, because more great conversations with media and marketing leaders are coming your way.